Daisi Joey is an up-and-coming Tyler artist whose work can be limited only in two aspects, recycled and experimental. Each of her artworks are an exploration of a new style or idea, mixing mediums, as well as traditional modes of creation. Perhaps mirrored in her artwork is her personality, which is energetic and inquisitive. A person passionate about making the world a better place. I truly hope you'll join me as we go and meet Daisi Joey.
Be like, no, I've never seen that before in my entire life. And then you show me like the title, you'll show me the, just like one like frame of it and of the movie. I'm like, oh, I love that movie. It's actually my favorite movie. And you're like, how do you not know that?
No, that's a good one. I don't know how I can transition that into, no, what do you want me to introduce you as? Daisi, I can't remember your last name.
Daisy K.
Daisy K?
But if anything, I'd rather do Daisi Joey. That's my middle name.
Okay, Daisi Joey.
Because eventually my last name will change, and it's just my sister.
You're trying to keep your relevancy.
Just keep that at least the Daisi Joey, and it's always what I've enjoyed. It's what my mom picked that name out for me so I could go by DJ at any point in my life. So I like going by Daisi Joey rather than Daisi Joey or Daisy K. It feels weird for me for some reason.
Yeah.
But I'm a mixed media of artist of every nature possible, I guess. I try to do a lot of recycling and bettering in the world, I guess. Like, my mural that I painted on there, all of the paint was from Habitat from Humanity. Mm-hmm. They were pre-opened cans that people couldn't use. That I found like ways instead of it going in the landfill or sitting there eventually. So I don't know, a recycling artist, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess let's take it back to the beginning. Like, what's your first steps into art?
When I first moved down to Texas, my mom's mom moved down here to help raise me, and she always took me to the Tyler Art Museum every second Saturday of the month, and I went to Caldwell Arts Academy since second grade. So instantly, that's like all the steps that I got like instantly into art. And then my mom insisted on crafting everything. We would make Halloween costumes were homemade, all that stuff. Everything was homemade. I don't know why I just forgot what the main question was. Sorry.
I guess my question was like, what were your first steps into art, into pursuing this?
Yeah, like, okay, yeah, I was right with where I was going. My Nana helping me, just consistently raising me with doing arts. I was in Girl Scouts, going to Caldwell Arts Academy. There was never a part of my mind where I was like, I want to be a doctor. I want to do this. I was like, no, I want to be an artist. I want to do art. That's all I want to do. And when I was diagnosed with dyslexia, I had to do the 504 classes and 504 meetings like every 2 years with like your teachers, your parents, and your guidance counselor.
Okay, for a homeschooler, can you explain what 504 is?
So 504 is going to be any kid with a special needs, but more towards the learning disability way. So dyslexia, some people with ADHD. Everyone that I met in my 504 classes suffered from just dyslexia or just having real hard time like reading. Mm-hmm. But what they did for me in TISD, you would be pulled out of like a random class. It tended to be a less important class, like your theater or art class, and you would read with these group of students, slower down. You'd learn how to write a little bit better. It was supposed to help. I don't know how it helped entirely for me because their big thing when I was in 504 was learning how to write in cursive. Have you ever seen comparisons on dyslexia, how like things just like move and stuff? The letters will kind of like move and shift a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I've probably got it myself, like undiagnosed, but
taking cursive letters that look very, like an O and an E can look very similar, especially if you don't have good handwriting, and then putting a dyslexic kid and being like, what does this say? I always was like, is that feet or food? Because like the way the two E's look, and then I was like, I don't know if that's a T anymore because I'm so confused on these like first set of letters. But I had like those 504 classes that you can eventually age out of, or you can, after you reach out of high school, you can then talk to counselors to then go get them in college. So another thing that they would do with 504 is tests you get to read. The questions could be read. If other students weren't allowed to have it read in any way, you could raise your hand and the teacher would come and do it and read it to you, or you'd have a separate room that you'd do the test in, and you'd have a proctor there for the entire test. So like the STAR, you never had a STAR test then, have you? Oh my goodness. And I have a little sister, and she's taking our STAR test today, and I'm like, what, you've never had a STAR test? Oh, lucky. My goodness. Basically, the STAR test is Texas testing you on one of the core subjects.
I mean, I do know what it is because, like, you know, just in general, all my friends were in public school. Well, not all of them. 75% of my friends were in public school. You know, that sort of thing. But so, I guess how did that dealing with dyslexia? Because it seems like you kind of connect that in your mind with like your art.
Well, what I was going to say was the reason I've always been like, I had my math teacher looked me in the eyes in front of like a meeting with my 504 instructors and was like, you need to learn because otherwise you're not going to find a job that pays well enough to make you happy. And I looked at him and I goes, or make you like be able to live and succeed. He did not care about happiness. He was like, you're not going to make money. And I was just like, I don't care. All I want to do is find a way to make myself happy. Like I can struggle with all these things. Maybe that's not how I make my money is by doing math, but like it doesn't make me less of a person in any way. And I've always been geared towards happiness versus anything else. You can be happy living in a cardboard box if you find a way to do it.
Yeah.
But you can be very miserable with all the money in the world.
Yeah. No, I also think, like, it's sort of a weird thing because, like, for one, like, I don't know, like, if I technically have dyslexia. I seem to be able to read and retain just fine. I read fairly, like, slowly. But, like in school, I'd have to do, like, a teleprompter for broadcast or whatever. This is college. And so I'd have trouble with that. I found a font called Open Dyslexic that actually has kind of helped me. I use it for writing down all my scripts and stuff.
I used color sheets, like that you put over lights, or like the gel lights that you can just put over books. Like if you have a physical book that you're having trouble reading, it really helps. Something about the color.
Is it a specific color, or is it just...
It could be any color. My favorite colors were doing the pink and the blue when I was in school. I like doing pink and blue because then sometimes I could put them over each other to make purple.
I'll have to try that.
Because what I would do is I'd like have the pink here, and I'd be reading along with the pink, and then the blue would be on top, and then that would make the purple, and as I was reading, I'd slide down to appear just the pink.
Yeah. But no, I guess the thing is, like... There's sort of like an idea of like correlating dyslexia with like intelligence or with I don't know, I guess even making money.
Yeah.
where like, you know, it's one of those things you read, you don't really know if it's true, but I've seen things saying that, you know, like actually most millionaires have some form of learning disability, dyslexia or whatever. I think a lot of it is like problem solving and looking at things in different ways. Like, because I'm fairly good at math. I'm kind of out of practice on it. But like when I explain how to do a math problem, I explain it completely differently from the way my mom or my brothers do. And so like I wonder, I don't think it's necessarily directly correlated with intelligence, even though it seems like people try to,
I think,
or even like success. It's more like I think it's just a different way of observing problems and solving them.
yeah, like I don't think it's really like a learning disability in a way. It's just proof that our public school system does not work.
Yeah.
Because every single person learns differently.
Yeah.
Like,
and now let me tell you all about homeschooling.
which then we can there's some good things about homeschooling, and then there's of course some bad things about homeschooling. Yeah. Like I had three of my best friends from like elementary school, where all of them were homeschooled. Mm-hmm. And I met them at the Tyler Public Library, because that's where Tyler Public Library and the Tyler Public Art Museum were my two best places to go to. I always got to meet people. They would have so many free activities at the public library that it makes me so happy. I was raised in that library, to say the least, even though I was dyslexic, but that didn't stop me. I was reading The Hunger Games in 5th grade. I was like, oh, okay, I can't read, so I'm gonna read the hardest thing possible and figure out and enjoy it. Like, it's gonna take me longer than most people would. Also,
too, I would say, like, just, like, what kids find an interest in, too. Like, it's kind of a thing where it's like, we're like, oh, well, but, like, take books, for example. People will be like, well, they have to read the classic literature or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But if a kid learns not to like reading right off the bat, they're not going to want to read classic literature, right? Mm-hmm. But if you start off saying, okay, read a book you're interested in, mm-hmm. right? Then they naturally gain that interest in books, mm-hmm. and they'll want to pursue that, you know?
Yep, exactly.
Like, it's this thing of like, we're like, oh, well, you have to do this and this, so we're going to make you do that to make sure you do that. Instead of like, okay, let's let you learn in your way, and then naturally, through progression, you'll have an interest. If you start reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, you're going to want to read the next thing.
I will always, when I walk through the Target and I see a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book and it's a new edition, I will still go back to it.
You'll want to move on to Hang the Cow Dog, and then you'll want to move on to Harry Potter. And then eventually that'll lead you to, like, where I was a couple years ago, like, reading all of Charles Dickens' work.
Really? Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Audiobooks I'm having a little bit more enjoying with now, because I'm like, want to paint, I want to do this, I want to do that. I enjoy reading, but now I'm no longer in the, I want to sit down and read and slow down. I'm like, no, I got stuff to do.
Yeah. No, like, because I watch Windows, so like all day it's audiobooks, podcasts, stuff like that.
No, that's what I really enjoyed about getting to listen to your podcast is one, because Trisha, like, I already know so much about her because she's my work mom. I started working with her at Michael's in 2019. I started working there in 2019. She started in 2020, I think, and she was my frame shop manager when she worked there.
Oh, okay.
So she helped raise me, and I've already know so much about her. But then getting to hear this whole other story that I don't actually get to like hear in the longevity was really cool.
Yeah.
And then same with Odessa. I was like, I really look up to her as trying to become a full-time artist. I was like, oh wow, I get to know more about her and see her story, and it gave me like little chills, to say the least.
Well, thank you. No, I really do, and like the thing is, like, I've even interviewed people that I know at least somewhat, you know, and like just learning so much more than comes up in our natural conversations and stuff. It's really interesting. It's been kind of interesting just seeing like what people will share.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm just a random guy who sends people emails, you know?
Yeah.
like, you know, most of the time I'm faceless even on camera and stuff, because I try to make it least about me as possible. And, like, still people will be like, oh, yeah, I'll tell you my entire life story, you know?
That's what I told my mom. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I've never been given the task to say something about it. And my mom just looked at me and goes, well, I have your opening line. And I was like, oh, God, what is this about to be? And she goes, you were raised in the Bible Belt by a Buddhist mother who is also a stripper, and your nana came to move from Michigan down to help raise you. And you turned out as a part-time artist, part-time retail worker, part-time cosmetology student. And I'm just trying to make as many people happy as possible. I was like, I guess you're right. That's an interesting little opener. Because we moved here when I was about 6 years old.
Yeah.
And my mom was a stripper for my entire life, before I was born as well. And no one knew about that. It was something you cannot say in this town. You do not tell anyone's...
So now you're saying it on a podcast.
Now that I'm 18, now that I'm past 18 years old and I'm 21, I'm like, oh, this is the adults who were treating me badly for my mom making money and raising her daughter the best she possibly could, where my mom was able to then be there in the morning during wake up time. She was also able to see me after I got off of school, and she could also have lunch with me. The only time she wasn't with me is at night when I was asleep. My mom found a way to do that, but people would find out about my mom's job and then be like, oh, your kid's not, sorry, you can't be friends with Daisy. Oh, her mom also isn't a Christian and is a Buddhist. I don't think we want her hanging around. She might be a bad influence. But in reality, I'm like, oh, that was just a lot of judgment for no reason on a child that didn't do anything. So it's really cool to be able to be open about that. And be like, I was raised by a fantastic mother who has, honestly, a very interesting job. It's better than being like, my mom worked in an office and all she did was type for 18 years. That's all she did. She doesn't even know what she typed. She just was typing. I was like, well, my mom brought me home eyelashes. My mom would bring me home eyelashes and would dance with me and dance with me around the house and everything, because she would be able to be there during the day rather than being at work.
Yeah. So I'm trying to see how we steer that into the rest of the conversation. I feel like we're too very going into different topics.
Yes, I'm very ADD. Where do we need to retrack it to?
Okay.
Because I just feel like the way that I was raised very much describes how much I was raised by a very big, wide village of people, to the point where I don't want to stick with one thing. With my art, I'm like, I'm going to do everything, because everyone deserves art. Every single person in a village deserves art in a way. So I feel like my backstory can sometimes show without people realizing it. Yeah. If that makes sense.
So, I guess let's bring it to the art, because in the beginning you talked about how a lot of your stuff is recycled and stuff like that. So, was that purposeful, or was that just sort of the way it worked out?
Purposeful, yes and no. I was raised, I was not allowed. We did not bring styrofoam in our house. Styrofoam, because it takes over a bajillion years to be able to degrade. So we'd use the styrofoam egg cartons as paint things. That's where we'd put our paint. So it started in small ways, and then continued oh, I can't afford purchasing a canvas, but I have this box. So let me cut this box down and I'll just paint on top of this until I can eventually get a canvas for something. And then I just kept doing that. And then Trisha donates all of her mat boards to me, her super tiny scrap mat boards. So I paint on those. And then I just was raised around seeing, just don't waste things. If you cannot waste something, do not waste it. Find a way to use it. Half Price Books throws away every single book that has a tear in it.
Yeah. I've been yelled at.
You've been yelled at. Okay, so yeah. So you see, there's, I think art. Everyone should be able to create art, have art, and there's a large waste majority with the art, with every artist. So that's kind of where I started being let me find every recycled material humanly possible and turn that into art, or turn that into a way for someone to make art. I want to make collage kits for people with really good photos, purposely going through all the old magazines and actually finding those good, like, usable photos, and then being like, here you guys go, and dropping them off to people who don't have money to make expensive art kits, or go to every single thrift store and curate their perfect little thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to jump into a dumpster and pick up some books to then find what's needed for artists in a way.
Yeah. No, I do understand, which for me, it was largely out of necessity because, I'm, young kid, don't have any money.
Yeah.
I got into, woodworking, pretty young age, just, went out, made a box to put, my grandfather's rifle in, and then, just snowballed from there, and then, it went into metalwork, and then somehow videography, audio work, all the different stuff, and because, I didn't have money, I had to find those resources. And so a lot of it was dumpster diving and stuff like that. And, honestly, so much good stuff does get thrown away. It's kind of... And, on the one hand, I understand, every construction site can't keep every single scrap piece of wood and use it in something else. But, also just, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me, how much we do throw away and how much we consume. And
I make handmade paper, which that's what that station back there, which I saw you're looking at, which is just a bunch of just, bags of paper and then a few different tubs. But every single scrap piece of paper I use goes in one of those tubs. Every scrap piece of paper my family uses, they'll put in a bucket, and I'll bring it over here. And I turn it in the paper, so then people can have brand new pieces of paper to write on, do new artwork on. And it's saving the environment a little bit. It's not going into the trash.
Yeah. So, I guess my question then would be, does, what you find dictate the art? Or do you have a vision and then you find the stuff to pull that together?
I feel like anytime I have a vision for something, I can never find the stuff that I need for it. I'm like, I feel like I saw something like this, so far, 2 weeks ago in the trash can that I was looking in. How come I can't find anything now? Nothing's really intentional, I feel. I feel like I have a problem throwing things away. So I'm like, let me hold on to it. And then 6 months later, I'm like, wait, I should paint a pomegranate, and then proceed to use a bunch of cut up straws and put that as the seeds, which that's what I'm currently working on. But I saved a bunch of those straws from forever ago. So it slowly comes to me. What was it? The other day I just saw some flowers, so I just took a photo and then I painted those right then and there. But sometimes I'll be sitting there every reference photo I took, no. Nothing seems right. I guess.
No, and I understand that because there's it's dumb because I don't really consider myself an artist, but if I try to force myself to draw something, it always looks like a little kid drew it. It's trash, and then every once in a while I'll just have this idea come in my head. I'll scratch it out on something, go home, draw it out on a full piece of paper, and I'm always happy with those.
Yep.
And it's this weird thing of I couldn't make myself do this.
Yep.
But it will just happen sometimes.
It's weird because in the past years when my art career took off, but I want to say for the year before that, I had a good, I want to say 6 months where I didn't pick up my sketchbook. I just couldn't think of anything. There was nothing flowing in my brain or my body. But then the second it switched, the nonstop sense. I'm like, nope, everything's going. I feel it now in my bones.
Yeah.
I feel all that creativity.
Yeah. So, let's talk more about your art. So, do you think that you have any set sort of style to what you do?
No, except non-realism. Am I realism?
No,
Because
realism.
I respect people who do realism. I've tried to do like one or two pieces with realism. We see realism every day in the real world, and even though there's some realism pieces that I'm like, I love that piece and I wish I could paint that. It's just so gorgeous, and that's something you don't actually see. Everything except realism is my style. It's truly, we see real life every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me paint something I don't get to see walking around the street.
Yeah. So I guess I'd like to ask this question because it's sort of an odd one. I know it's difficult for artists, but like, what makes good art?
Art that somebody created with their, good art is going to be the artist's own, in my opinion, the artist's own personal feeling. Because even if you're like, that is great art, that's going to be how that artist feels about it, if that makes sense, and how their journey was with it. Even though, as viewers, we can be like, no, this is a great art, and that artist can be like, I hate it. But I feel like the artist is the person who makes it the good art in their own brain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, Van Gogh did not like a lot of his pieces. All of his unsigned pieces he did not like. He only signed things he was proud of. And in that way, like, part of me feels like even though it is beautiful works of art, it isn't, he knew it was not good enough to his skill, which then you can see in a signed piece that it's like, whoa. You can see why he did certain things like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But good art's up to, like, the artist and how much they put into it. I can't think of bad art. Like, when someone's like, bad art, I'm like, probably someone who just proceeded to mass copies. That's bad art. People who are just like, you know what, let me find this small artist, steal from them, and put that art out and claim it as my own. That's bad art. Everything else, the artist made it for a reason. So therefore, I don't want to tell someone that their art is bad because I don't want them to turn around and look at me and be like,
yeah.
like, oh, damn.
So I guess, is there any painters or, just any form of art that anybody who, like, stands out to you as, like, this is an inspiration, or if not an inspiration, just, like, somebody that you really admire?
Always has been Van Gogh. My first car was a van, so it was Vincent van Gogh. Fun fact, his left mirror was a little chipped, so it was... it worked out perfectly. But Van Gogh I've always loved because that was the first art that I, like, looked at and then was like, oh, I feel something. I feel very sad looking at this thing of flowers. I can see them dying. Wow. Yeah. That's weird. Like, so the way his emotion is expressed in art has always inspired me. And just how he's a very interesting man. And there's some fun little conspiracy theories about him, which I always think is funny. How
like the one that he didn't actually shoot himself.
Yep, and that the kids did. I always found that one. The first time I heard it, I think I want to say I was freshman in high school, and I cried because it made me so sad. I was like, that's like, I don't know if that's worse or better than him harming his own self. I'm like, I hate that conspiracy. You guys just wished more horribleness on him.
Yeah, see, the version I'd heard was more like it was like an accident, like just like some kids playing around with a gun, and then you know
how you play around. Well, we're from Texas. Well, we live in Texas, so we know.
I mean, like most kids in Texas, it's more like playing around with a knife.
Which is, so I was born in Michigan, but I actually never experienced like playing around with guns in Texas. But then when I was up north one time, in like 8th grade visiting, it was the first time using airsoft.
Yeah.
We were just shooting each other. I was like, whoa, what's going on? In Texas, I was taught the toy gun doesn't even get pointed at another individual. So I was like, what? Okay. Yeah. I was like, what? What's going on?
No. One time we had, me and my friend Parker, I think it was, we were out shooting each other with airsoft guns, and somebody called the police on us. We're just like little kids. Police officer pulls up. He's like, "Yeah, somebody called me out here, but y'all are just having fun. And y'all are fun."
But like I was taught like growing up by a lot of, and I don't know if this was just my experience of like being more of a girl in Texas. A lot of the older men, if you see a toy, you don't point that at anyone. Even if it's like not a real gun, you don't point at someone because that's rude.
Yeah.
Especially, and then when you move on the real guns, obviously you don't point at someone.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of like depends. Like, I don't know. Like, because, like, you know, one friend's house, you know, you get this lecture about that.
Yeah.
And the next friend's house, the dad's like, check this out.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's 100. Like, my uncle, he did a lot of hunting. So he was the one who taught me that. So that's why I found it very interesting, because then a few friends, like, around would do that. But then Michigan, they didn't have that, which I just thought was, like, it was the only time I've ever seen it, which...
I mean, too, it could be, like, you know... Just like, which I don't know. It's Michigan. There's a lot of, but like, you know.
I'm always.
I'm not trying to offend you.
I'm always repping my state. What can I say? Yeah. I love.
but like, you know, there, you know, maybe it is like that. You know, if you're around guns more or whatever, there's more of.
That's
the
what I generally
for
think it is.
Yeah.
Which I don't like being around guns. Which I don't think anyone. Well. People do like being around guns, but I'd rather not. If I could avoid it, I'd rather not. But I just always think that's a funny little...
Yeah.
I was raised by northern parents in a southern state, so it's that fun little mix.
Yeah, yeah. I have no idea how we got here.
I can't remember. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so let's go into your career. Like, how did that start out? Like, you pursuing this as a career?
Like, I started working at Michael's when I was 16, which then gave me that little bit of that Michael's discount, so I could get my canvases when I needed them for 30% off, which was, really enjoyed that. Where was it? Sorry. Art Alley, the second round of Art Alley. I applied for it, and I was very nervous. I was like, I'm not going to get it. I don't think I'm ready. And all my friends were like, you have to apply because it's a free opportunity for a mural. And I was like, fine. And then I got the email that I did not get it. And I was like, oh, dang. Well, at least I know what the rejection's like. Okay. The next day I get an email that says that I was the second person, or like the... Like, there's 42 slots. You were the 43rd person, and one of the people on the 42 said no, they didn't want to do it. So congratulations, you get a mural. So I got to do the rejection, and then the next morning wake up and be like, yes, give me the spot, please.
Yes.
So I got to deal with that, which really proceeded to just I got to paint something big and then put a lot of faith in myself. Because then I proceeded to get, just from that one mural, painting this mural, and then opening myself up to markets, because people would see me painting that mural, and they're like, oh, what else do you do? What else do you have? I was like, oh, I have stuff in my room from the past, like, 18 years of living. Like, what do you mean? What could I do with this? And I did my very first vendor market, which I must say I enjoy vendor markets because I like meeting people, but I do not like them in the heat. But I did my first one at Chibi's in White House, and I had just a very overwhelming amount of people were like looking through my art and being like, oh wow, I love this piece. And I was like, what? I shared my stuff on Instagram, but very not often enough. Like, it would be like, here's a sketchbook page, never anything that I actually finished for some reason. So that's what started happening. I kept signing up for more art markets, and then my own family has been very wonderful. My Aunt Brooke lives in between the Austin and Houston area, and she works at a salon, and she was like, hey, you've done some window paintings. Would you mind coming and painting our windows? And I was like, yes, I'm on my way, which I'll be going down there again because I'll be painting their windows every 3 months. But truly just like the community is what built the art career. If anything, like that one singular free opportunity built everything else that I got, if that makes sense.
So I want to go back because you said something interesting, and that was like you didn't ever share something you'd finished. Was that like a fear of people not accepting what you had finished, or?
I was a lot of my beginning artwork was very emo and sad, which like makes sense. Like I was a sophomore and a junior in high school when like I really started finishing artwork and not actually just doing a sketchbook, or it wasn't like an assignment or something. My boyfriend's dad has this piece because my boyfriend bought it for him. It is a melting face with like a bob cut. It's the only like people liked it, but I was like, I don't feel like people actually like it. I felt like imposter syndrome, I guess, which stopped me consistently. No matter how many people like, this is amazing, I was like, no. Which I know every artist is their own critic. Like, everyone does that. You could do that with washing windows. You'd be like, no, I can see there's a spot there that I missed. That even if no one else can see that singular fingerprint up at the top, I see it.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know, like when I scrape paintings off of windows, I see that one little speck of paint left.
I must say, I love painting windows, but I hate cleaning the paint off of them.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, so a heck of respect to you, because I hate doing it.
It also depends on what paint people use. 'Cause I don't know what the difference is, but some comes off super easily. Other ones
I don't know
not.
what the difference is either, because I had... Oh, the name just... Luann's Florist had me paint one of their windows. Trisha gave them my phone number, and they reached out to me to paint their windows. And I used the same paint across the entire thing, but in just one little spot, nope, it did not want to come off. And like I was wanting to cry. I was like, why? Yeah, everything else came so easily, but you're being the stubborn piece in like the middle of the entire like window too. So like I really don't know why Windows be doing window things.
So now that we've derailed it again, let's go back. So you know you do this mural. It starts taking off. People are reacting positively to your artwork and stuff. So where do you say that like it really takes off? Like
it has not yet. It has not. I have not hit the. Like, I'm still working a part-time job, and also I went to cosmetology school for a little while, and I graduated. Cosmetology school is expensive. Getting a cosmetology license, that's expensive too, in case no one told
and like
anyone.
Figuring out where all the planets are and everything.
Everything's it's all a little bit expensive.
Yeah.
But I have not hit that big breaking point yet. I've just hit that point of, oh, there's opportunity for me. How can I do this? And then being very much kind of, the stereotype of actors working their dead-end job and then going every night and going to do the fun thing. Yeah. It's kind of where I'm at right now, is just doing a job that I do really enjoy. I love working there. It's my favorite thing, and I've grown, and I've like changed a lot in the company. I've like moved out with it and like moved back in with the company, which has been really fun and nice. But at the same time, I'm still not there with my art. I'm going. I think Trisha said it. I'm in the growing phase. I'm in that middle ground now where people are looking and watching.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be buying a house with that money yet, or paying all your bills with that money. You're getting that learning experience then.
Yeah.
I guess.
So what would you say you've learned so far?
I'm trying to pick out the most important thing. My goodness.
I mean, we have like literally unlimited time. Like I don't do this.
But like I want to say is that as an artist, you pick your clients. Like for one, I wish what my mom would like me to say is that I've learned to price my artwork correctly to what it's valued. But I've not learned that, and I probably never will, because, like I said, I want everyone to have artwork. So I'm like, oh, you only have $6 on you? Which one do you want?
Yeah.
Like, you can have one of them. But learning to just, like, oh. You're going to cut the silence, right?
No.
Not anymore.
Just be quiet for the next 10 minutes.
Just next 10 minutes, just straight silence.
I'll see the YouTube analytics for just views plummet.
They actually go up for some reason. Yeah. Everyone only watched that portion. She finally stopped talking. Good job. No, that's actually really hard what I've learned, because it feels like I've learned different things with my skill. Like, I've recently started doing oil paint, so I'm like, oh, wow, I'm learning this. And then I'm learning how to fix mistakes, learning how to fix artist mistakes and being like, oh, maybe I should have done that for that thing. Maybe there's a different way I could have approached that. Like with my first window painting, I didn't do a white base. Mm-hmm. I started out with just doing the orange on it, and then therefore what ended up happening was I ended up spending 6 hours trying to get a good thick coat of orange, but it never would go down because there wasn't that clear enough base for it to stick on, or a better base for it to stick onto. So I'm a trial and error artist. But with the very first mural, it's my most embarrassing little learn fact. I painted that mural 100% for myself. I got the permission to paint it, and I was like, this is for me. This is my mural. Because my Nana recently passed right after I got that mural. So I was like, this is for us. So I just wanted to do something that I enjoyed doing in my style. Shouldn't have really done that in an art alley, because the kind of point of art alley is people taking photos. And I've seen people take photos, and mine will be skipped. And I'm like, okay, I get it. It's not everyone's style. But I learned I do have to adapt my style slightly to people, but I can still pick who my people are. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I do think there's I talked about this with Ingrid Horner some. I hope that's how you say her name, right? So
I try not to say people's last name.
Yeah,
I'll only
last
say
names I'm bad with. But she talked about Tyler, Texas specifically, a lot of landscape, a lot of flowers, because we're known for our roses and stuff. And she was talking about how she had to learn how to do those things, but in her style.
Yeah.
Right. So none of your artwork seems I'd want to take a selfie with this, but that's not a thing I do very often.
You don't want to take a selfie with that dead fish over there?
Actually, I probably would. But, of all the things I've seen in Art Alley.
No, because I do the thing that really got me into doing was stylized little portraits, because I like drawing people, but I hated drawing. I would always have an eye up here on accident, and then an eye slightly a little bit under. So I jumped into that. I was like, oh well, we're a little goofy. Yeah. Oh well, everyone got a little goofy in them. So I painted a big stylized portrait. That's not something you can really be
Yeah. But
graduation.
Then there's also the thing of you could take it the other way and say you didn't make any words, not caveats.
Didn't make it for the people.
Yeah. Well, you made what you wanted to make.
Which is very important.
You didn't give up on that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna do this. This is what I like, and I must say my big thing is my friends. A few of them I haven't taken them down there, but a few of them have sent me a selfie like this, or taking photos of each other at it, and that brings me a lot of happiness. I'm like, ooh, look at that, and I'll purposely if I'm feeling real sad, I will go down and walk down Art Alley, and I'll be like, this is your start. It's hard being an artist. Yeah, my grandfather calls me his starving artist, which I love. It's my favorite thing. I'm trying not to be starving, I promise. I'm trying to get past that part and just get the
I
artist.
found no food in here so far. Oh wait, there's oranges.
Oh, I forgot about those oranges. I also have a tin of Christmas popcorn.
Well, there you go. All you need
From my grandfather.
Capri Suns, oranges, Christmas popcorn.
Yes. I try and like I'll try and make food at home and like bring it in, and then I'll like 2.5 hours later, I'm like looking at my cold chicken nuggets that I made, and I'm like, damn it. I should have sat down and ate rather than bringing that in here.
Yeah. So I guess, what... So we've gone on from, like, your beginnings, sort of what has pushed you into, we'll call it your growing stage now.
Yeah.
So buy her art now, and, you know,
Yes.
it will only appreciate and value. So what keeps you inspired? Like, how do you keep finding inspiration for things?
Everyday emotion. My own like feelings and then other people's feelings. Like, I don't want to be like, I'm an empath, I feel other people's feelings. Like, more of I can watch a video that I've never had any experience with, and I'll be like, wait, what? Dang it, I would hate I get really stupidly emotional. Always have been stupidly emotional, and just like will cry over the little things. So in a way, like my own emotions, and then let me say I see my friend feeling really bad, I'm like, damn, that sucks. And then I'm like, oh, I kind of see something in that. Like I'm trying to think of like an experience that's not real, so I'm not calling out anybody. I promise this is not a real experience any of my friends have had. If it is, they have not told me about it. Like, let's say just like my friend was going through a breakup, and she said that she like threw the wine glass and it hit a candle perfectly, and I might sit there and be like, wine glass candle? That should be a painting. And like then like I'm like hyper focused on that, and like then being like, okay, let me bring in that emotion that was feeling in that moment. I painted a flower. It was my first like time doing a little live painting, and there was someone there that made me very anxious and very unsafe. And I didn't want to address it because I was like just trying to be in my little zone. But what ended up happening, I started using all those deep reds and all of those like. I put all of my anxiety and all of those associated colors in that moment of my anxiety into that painting, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So like life experiences, emotions, and then sometimes just boredom, honestly, can fuel like my inspiration. Be like, I'm bored. Nothing's hidden right now. Like coloring, I'm tired of watching YouTube. I don't feel like coloring. Let me just go through some magazines, and then I'll like start pulling out photos, and I'm like, oh wow, these two look really cool together. This photo from the National Geographic of 1968 and this random TV magazine photo looks great together. I'm gonna collage them all together. So boredom, emotions, and then just everyday human beings and their interactions that we have.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said you did, like, multimedia, which, I've seen. I'm being the narrator for everybody.
I appreciate it.
So, like, what besides, like, painting have you gotten into? Like, what are things you plan on doing in the future?
So, painting, I'm always going to keep doing painting. But I like doing my collages, of course, because that's finding a way to take old books that can't be sold for some reason, even though we know they could be. You could put a 1 penny cent.
So do they yell at you?
I haven't been caught.
Oh, okay. That's the thing, is I'm like 6'4", so and like everybody here.
I must say, the last time I went with friends, and my friends were a little bit like, Daisy, we really shouldn't do it. It says don't jump. And I was like, if a cop comes over here, like it was after they were closed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if a cop comes over here and yells at me for stealing books, I'm gonna just say I'm giving them to Goodwill.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna.
But
like,
I'm not. I'm taking them apart and selling them for a profit.
Yes. I'm Jeff Bezoing the half-price books right now with damaged magazines.
And they're scanning all of them, selling them on the Amazon fire.
That's what they're scared of. But no one's doing that because everyone's scared of jumping in, like, a trash. But I'm not. Please let me go into your trash can. Please don't throw me in jail. If anyone has any trash cans they'd like me to go through, please let me know.
If you would like me to live in your trash can.
Not live, just look through. Oh my goodness. Off topic, but I really want to explore the abandoned hotel.
Oh, downtown?
Yeah, I really want to go in there. It's so beautiful.
I was washing windows over there, and the gate was down. And I was like, I could just walk over there, but no,
there's so many people who do it.
I'm on the clock.
There's so many people that do it, and I'm like, why can't I? But I'm like, I'm so scared. Like, the second I think about it, I'm like,
yeah. You're like, oh, there's going to be junkies, and then they're going to stick the heroin needles in me.
No, it's just generally, I'm like, I would, if I got caught by a cop, even if I was literally just like here, like with like a little camera by myself taking photos, I would just be like, just start crying. I've never been pulled over before. Like the second I know that I get pulled over, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I've been driving.
It's a good way to get out of it.
Not to get out of it, but because it's been like 5.5 years of driving experience. It's gonna happen one day, and I'm scared. I'm like, I don't, like shaking. I'm like, I did, Dad, what did I do wrong? Did I do everything wrong? Am I not supposed to be driving anymore? They're gonna be like, your tail light's broken. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Okay, how did we get on that?
I'm sorry, yeah.
Collages, jumping in the trash.
Yes. What other new things? I guess the most newest thing is I have started doing film, like photography, using analog. Pineywood's Darkroom, if you've highly recommend going over there, because they're a nonprofit. So that's just amazing. So they're helping bring in art to everyone. But they have all the film, they have the cameras, and they also have the developing. So you don't have to take your stuff to CVS anymore.
Yeah.
Which is really good because they take good care of it. So I'm getting started in the film, and I have some ideas of taking photos and turning them into collages, of course. So I'm really excited for that. Hopefully more murals are in the works. Hopefully. I'm waiting for someone to text back so we can figure out exactly what we want to do for that. More learning. Honestly, it's just going to be a consistent growing and learning for at least, I would say...
Forever.
Of course, forever I'll be growing and learning. But at least just, like, majorly, like, growing my skill, I think at least for the next 2 years, I'm going to be like, oh, wow, look at this. Versus a year ago, like, wow, like, I can see this already, like, have changed. And between two window paintings, I've seen myself grow, and I'm like, wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, this practice is working off. It's working in a way. Can't think of any new mediums besides the film, though.
Yeah. No, I definitely want to check that out, because I haven't done anything with film besides, like the disposable camera, take it to CBS thing. But yeah, that's something I definitely want to try out. But I guess I'll let you, because I'm pretty much out of good questions at this point. So I'll let you, lead this podcast or take it where you want to go for a bit. You have the steering wheel.
Oh boy, let me get a drink. Well, sorry for being just so very hey. I was like, I probably should write stuff down, but I was like, I don't know what I don't know what to write. I'd say the only thing that I really have to say that I would want everyone in East Texas to hear is no matter, every single person in East Texas is very different. We are all very, very different, but we are still in this same place, and we're getting it to grow more and more. If you told 9-year-old me that there would be an actual art scene in Tyler, Texas, I'd be like, you're lying. No one has art here except the art museum. Mm-hmm. That's all we had when I was growing up. That's all I knew of. Besides, I guess, the palette of roses, but that was for adults. There was not much for kids, really. But now we're having like the Longview Art Walks are happening, the Tyler Arts Festivals are happening. We have the Art Alley. The parks are getting covered in murals slowly, and I'm loving that. Just continue being kind to one another despite every single difference that we will all have, if that makes sense. Because, how do I not call it every East Texan for slightly wanting us all to be the same?
I want everybody to be different just like me.
I want everyone to be different just like me. But no, it's just more of like, remember to like, even if you are raised like, even though you're raised like one way, like everyone, even if you're like, oh no, your values are still very strong, even though the person next to you, their values are very strong. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people, when they see someone else's values as strong as they are, they're like, no, mine are strong. It's like, no, both of yours can be strong at the same time.
Yeah.
The whole point is that you guys have strong values, and that's a good thing. But just don't smosh other people about it. Don't like hurt them. You're like, hey.
Yeah. I do think we have this problem of like, whether it's political or personal or whatever type of beliefs, I think like our media has been geared to where like anger is like our strongest reaction, fear at least.
Yeah.
And fear, then we react in anger. And I think it's like companies, whether it be media companies, social media, whatever, we found that that's like a really good way to market to people.
Yeah.
Right? And
rage bait.
Yeah. So like I think like people don't get out enough. They don't interact with people enough. And when you sit there and all you do is consume this, like somebody who believes different than me believes all the way different than me.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody who, that me.
You're good.
I'll turn it down. I don't even know who this number is. I'll call you back in a second. But yeah, we like kind of get conditioned to this idea that like if somebody believes whatever way separate from me, then there's no middle ground we can find. Obviously they believe the most extreme version of that.
And like I've done the same thing. Like as someone,
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm obviously so different than them, so obviously I can never hang out with them after they're done with their Bible study. I can't hang out with them because I'm so very different. No.
Yeah.
Most of us all enjoy the same exact thing. We just have something that keeps us going differently.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. Like honestly, like it's cliche to say, right? But like just turn off the news feed for a while.
Go explore your town.
Like there were certain beliefs I had when I was younger, and to a certain extent, I still have some of those beliefs, be they religious or political or whatever, but I like realized that what I was doing to myself was like I was so involved in those things that I couldn't see that there were people who thought differently, but they still wanted the same thing that I did. They still wanted people to get along. They still wanted people to have conversations and stuff. But like, because I was inundating myself with the most extreme version of somebody who agreed separately from me, I had this idea of like, oh, well, you can never reach this person. You can never, because obviously, they want to turn all the frogs gay and what.
And it's hard sometimes to not jump back on either side of the, like, jump back into the extreme, being like, no, it's so bad, no, it's so good, and then you're like, oh wait, there's a middle ground in here. As I'm a big person of people should be alive. What can I say? People should be alive. We all should be like communicating, but we should all be taken care of. Like a lot of people are not alive in the world because there's not good resource, not a lot of accessible resources, which I know Odessa talked about it, which made me so happy to hear about like all that she's doing. But like,
and I mean that's the thing too, is like you can sit all day and be angry about how things are, but like it's never going to change anything. You're never going to feel better about it unless you go and do things.
Yeah.
And you can't just like sit there and pray to the God of Washington D.C. that he
can't
changes everybody's mind.
Yeah.
And also feeds everybody, and also, gets people off the street, gets rid of drugs. It's this thing of like, but what are you doing? What light are you bringing to things? How are you helping people?
Yep.
And I think we just derailed whatever.
No, we were on the topic of just like generally needing better just structures for people to live in, because then we won't become so angry. I think. Like, I don't think.
Like that's
not too heated of something. Like talking about homeless people. Some people do not believe that most homeless people don't, like, yeah, they deserve shelter, but then when they find out that homeless person is on drugs, they don't deserve shelter. Imagine trying to get off of drugs but not having a roof over your head.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to get off of drugs and then go through the insane recovery that you have to go through. No matter what drug you're on, you have to go, even if it's just alcohol, because that is a drug. You have to go through an insane recovery, but you might not have a roof above your head.
Alcohol is also like one of the most dangerous drugs to get off of.
Yeah, like, exactly. But like, I think people don't realize that it's not black and white. And because so many things are messed up in certain areas, that we're like, well, this person did one thing, so therefore all people who were in this one little scenario are able to do that. When it's like, there's so many factors in every single case, and then it's just more of, people deserve humanity, I think. They just deserve humanity. They deserve...
Well, that's the thing, too, is like, there's an idea that, like, for one, that it's the government's job to solve everything, which I really...
I think it's generally people's job. It's
our that's what
moral responsibility.
Is like, we need to stop, like, giving everything, like I said, to this, like, weird, like, spirit of Washington, D.C., whoever you think is going to solve everything, right?
Mr. George Washington. He's coming back from the dead. During the eclipse, he actually came back, and he's helping us.
I saw him. No, but it's this thing of, like, because, like, when you look at government solutions, right, it's, like, impossible to go to the individual level. Like, if you have, this great big bureaucracy, right, they can't look at everybody individually because there's no possible way. But if you go out and you help one person, or you try to make an effort with one person, whether that be like drugs or just a neighbor who's having a hard time or something like that, that creates way more impactful change than just throwing money.
Yes. I don't think it's an expensive thing to help people. Like,
yeah,
it is very much a tiny, small task. Like, I went to cosmetology school not to make money, honestly, but so that then those who cannot afford to go get a haircut, well, I'm going to come to you, and I'm going to cut your hair, so then you're ready for this week, and, like, you're good to go. Or those who are just, and then those who have, like, special needs, who are very overwhelmed and heavily crowded areas. I want to specifically be helping those people. I don't plan on making money with my cosmetology. I'm going to have to find a different way to pay off my school, that's for sure. But...
So that's how many things we're not making money at?
It's only like, I'm making money in my art.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Just depends on the day of the week. No, I gotta work really hard, guys. I got like 60 items I want to give for free, so I gotta work really hard. Which, like, it's silly to want to consistently give things for free, of course, or giving things cheap. But like, certain people need it. Certain, like, let's say that one person technically, like, they had enough money to like buy a $50 art piece, but that really, like, then they couldn't put that in their pocket for next, like, they couldn't go out to eat next week with their girlfriends on their date. So instead, I consistently keep my, like, that art piece, like, at a lower price. And then he's like, oh, wait, I can buy this. And then it consistently makes me happy for, like, this long. And, I don't know, that's what makes me happy. Keeping things low.
Well, thank you so much, honestly, for letting me into your cool, what would this be, loft, I guess?
Yeah, attic.
Space.
Attic, a little attic
secret
mouse.
lair.
Honestly, yes, because, fun fact, all the windows except these two are double paned. So no one can see in at night, during the day. They can kind of see in at night when I have, like, a light on.
Yeah.
But no one, I'm just running around here
and
screaming.
we're not giving away the location either, so.
For now.
For now, it's super secret. Who knows, maybe later.
Maybe, I know I do plan on doing free collage classes with the Tyler Public Library in the next few months. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to do that.
Yeah, you want to give out any information on it?
We haven't set any of this day, like, I've sent the email out, and, like, we've talked about it briefly, but we haven't set a date yet.
Okay.
But a free art collage class, so just follow me on social medias.
Yeah.
Art by Daisy.
And definitely send it to me, and I'll repost it or whatever it is on the thing. So.
Do you feel bad at using social media as well somehow?
Yeah.
Like, even though I was, like, technically, like, raised on social media, I can't use Facebook for the life of me, and every grandma got me beat on it. Every single Nima and grandma has me beat on using Facebook because I can't figure out how to use it. Like, there's 30 different options with posting sometimes, and I get overwhelmed.
Yeah. No, like I spend fairly little time on Facebook, or Instagram or anything, but it's still way too much time. And I'm like, man, if only there was a way I could get this out here without, doing anything. Maybe I'll just carry around a boombox playing my podcast.
Honestly, no, what you need to do is get me the paint the side of your truck.
There we go.
There you go.
There's an option.
But no, yeah, oh my God, I dislike being a social media being a social media influencer.
Yeah,
and
when I went on the trip, me and my girlfriend were in the hot tub, and there's this family sitting across from us. And there were other people in between us, but they left. And I kept on hearing them talking. I'm like, okay, that's not Spanish or English. They're not from around here. So I was like, where are y'all from? And they were from Germany. And and so we were talking about what he did, and he was like quality control for like a pharmaceutical company. So he goes to like North America, South America, and all over Europe, and like make sure that all their stuff is meeting all the standards, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, "What do you do? Do you? I heard a podcast. Are you a big social media influencer?" And I'm just like, "Oh, don't say that."
Yeah. Do you want to go watch my YouTube shorts?
Yeah.
Just zooming in.
I was looking into like becoming a YouTube partner, and it's like, oh, make 100 shorts and get 400,000 plus views on them.
Oh, I thought you were about to say.
And then maybe you can make some money at it.
That's not where I thought you were going to go. Like, post 100 shorts, get $4,000. I was like, so have you posted the 100?
No, this is like, and then maybe you can get like a penny per 10,000 views or something.
Darn, we were so close to being millionaires.
Yeah, but it's just been fun meeting people, and like, I feel like I'm actually like part of the community now.
It's nice hearing from the like, as someone who like grew up in East Texas, it's nice hearing the community, but from very different perspectives, and like not even just people who were born and raised here, but people who came here from different areas, or like have lived here and then came back and then moved somewhere else and then come back.
Yeah.
And then just having people not from here as well. I think it's nice. I enjoy it. Thank you for having this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for agreeing to sit down with me. It was a whole lot of fun.
Whole lot of rampages into nothingness.
But it's fun.
Hopefully someone also, they chimed in during one of our rampages.
Yeah.
They were like, no.
Clouds of white, a bright sunny day.
Oh, hi. You actually made it to the end. Not many people do that. I guess you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and like and subscribe. Share it with people if you want to. And just tune in next time because I'm always interviewing different people. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Some beauty in the sky. They're also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you.